Vayus. Vayu is a Sanskrit word that simply means air or wind. And in pranayama practice and in Ayurveda, we are very interested in these five different directions and functions of prana. As you would have noticed, there are actually 12 different vayus, but we are predominantly interested in 5 of them. And in today's practice, we are predominantly interested in 2 of them. The vayus should be thought of as I said, just different directionalities and different functionalities of the animating principle of prana. We'll be working this morning with an awareness of prana vayu, which is the movement and function of prana that brings energy into and up into the body. So think of an inhalation or taking in a new idea or concept. That's the function of pranavayu. Then Apana vayu, which is the form and function of the life force that takes things down and out of the body. So all of those processes, urination, defecation, menstruation, ejaculation, all the Asians and childbirth, and more subtly our feeling of being grounded and stable and in sukha, in a good space that's very much governed by Apana vayu. This morning, this week as well, we're going to be picking up a practice of nadi shodhana. So nadi is again a Sanskrit word that means stream or river or flow. And the nadis are the internal pranic rivers or flows of energy in the body. There are in some traditions considered to be more than 300,000 nadis, but we are really interested principally in 3 of them. This morning, Nadi Shodhana is going to be working with Ida and Pingala Nadi. The word Shodhana means to cleanse or to purify. The practice of Nadi Shodhana assists us to purify the flow of energy in all of the channels, because all of the channels flow depends on those 2 main tributaries, those 2 main channels. Everything else is sort of an offshoot of them. Even Shushumna Nadi, the central Nadi, is only comes into being as a result of Ida and Pingala flowing around one another appropriately. So I know that that's a lot of technical talk right at the top, but it's important to get it out of the way so that we can settle into our practice. One final thing, please, before we get started, can you please make sure that you've got either a tennis ball or a rolled up pair of socks or a small face washer, something that you can pop underneath your armpit if you need to. You'll notice when we're practicing techniques that involve occlusion of one or both nostrils, that sometimes one of your nostrils will feel a little bit congested or constricted. If that's the case in your practice, take that prop, the tennis ball or the rolled up pair of socks, and pop it underneath the opposite armpit to the nostril that feels blocked. Okay, so let's get into it. Thank you for your patience this morning. Let us begin. And we're going to start with a neck check, a neck and a jaw check. So please really slowly and carefully articulate the joints in the neck and just allow yourself to notice how your neck has arrived with you on your practice cushion this morning. Don't forget all the possible ranges of motion, lateral flexion, dropping ear to shoulder, and then maybe feeling into the shoulders with a couple of shrugs. And now sensing into the jaw. So just opening and closing the mouth, maybe giving the jaw a bit of a wiggle. How is all of that feeling? Moving now into our 3-phase maneuver. Please make a fist with your left hand and pop it underneath your chin. Keep really driving that fist upward as you drop the chin down to meet it. So you feel there's an equal and oppositional amount of muscular activation in the neck. A little bit of conversation in the fascia in the neck. And think about lifting the collarbones up nice and brightly toward that left hand. And then take your right hand and cradle the occiput. So it's not the back of the head and it's not the back of the neck. It's the back hairline, just where the skull curves really elegantly and inserts onto the spine. Keep your shoulders nice and relaxed. Keep the breath moving and hold on to all of that, chin down, chest up, and then begin to push the back of your head against your right hand. Really enthusiastically, there's going to be a little bit of chatter in the fascia at the base of the skull, the back of the neck, and just hold that and breathe without allowing any tension to accrue in the shoulders or the face. And now relax your arms and just be present with the subtle feelings that you might be experiencing. Good. We'll move next into the silent scream. Please take your right hand and pop that underneath your chin. Keep that right fist driving up as you anchor the chin down. And again, feeling that there's an equal and oppositional amount of activation of the muscles in the neck. And now holding on to all of that and keeping the breath moving, open your mouth as wide as you can. Stay there. Keep the fist driving up, the chin driving down, the mouth open as wide as you can, and the breath moving. Letting go of that now. And again, take a pause just to be really present with how your body is responding. Moving next into our tongue circles. Please keep your head very still and pick an object in front of you that's not going to move so that you can steady your eye gaze there and begin to trace some very slow circles with your tongue along the insides of your lips. Good. This morning, we're going to aim for 20 circles in one direction and then another 20 circles in the other direction. So we are amping it up a little bit. Do not be surprised if this is quite difficult. If you have any underlying weakness in the tongue, this will show up here. If you have any chronic misalignments or issues in your neck, this will potentially show up in this practice. Good news is that the tongue circles, ridiculous as they look, will really assist to build the strength and flexibility of the tongue, assisting us in the formation of the laryngeal diaphragm. And most importantly, helping us to, in our everyday lives, keep our good tongue posture, which essentially is holding up the entire body. No tension or strain. If you finished your tongue circles, please move on now to your jivha bandha. Jivha means tongue, bandha means to bind or to seal. We glue the tongue gently up against the roof of the mouth, especially the back of the tongue, and then initiate your natural sucking or swallowing reflex, like you've got a sticky piece of minty up against the roof of your mouth. And when you feel the tongue is nestled and slightly suctioned into position, start to open the lower jaw slowly like this. So we're stretching the frenulum, this little piece of architecture. It is the piece of connective tissue that anchors the tongue into the lower jaw. For many of us, there is a lot of tension in the tongue. And what you might notice as you practice your Jivha Bandha is that there's a beautiful stretch and release through the platysma, the hyoid, all of the muscles in the underside of the jaw. Taking as many rounds as feel appropriate, you can let the tongue just pop off the roof of the mouth with a little click if you've got access to it. And we'll move on now. Please come to establish yourself in your seat. Try and use the same seat every time you practice so that your body can really get well acquainted with that particular position, choosing a position that you're able to stay comfortably in for a while, making sure that the curves of the spine are all intact. This might require some support in the form of a cushion in the lower back, or perhaps even leaning against the wall or the back of the bed. As you arrive in your seat, we'll drop down via our reset breath. Please start with an exhale. Take a big, boisterous inhale through the nose. Hold on to that. Top it up with a second nasal inhale. And now exhale through pursed lips. Slow exhale. Again, big inhale through the nose. Hold on to that. Top it up. And out gently through pursed lips. Please take another 3 rounds of your reset breath in your own time. Paying attention to the sensations that accompany that pattern of breath. The buildup of pressure intrathoracically, intra-abdominally on the inhales, and the calming drop down with that long exhale. When you are ready, please bring your tongue to rest flat against the roof of your mouth, letting the jaw relax. Allow your eye gaze to just orient itself down toward the bridge of the nose and come to meet your breath. Moving your breath very slowly and very smoothly in and out through the nose. Overnight, the breath has been moving of its own accord. This is our first opportunity in the day to come to meet the rhythm of breathing consciously. Noticing the feeling of the air within the nostrils. And becoming attentive to the movements of the rib cage. As the rib cage moves, so too do the lungs. Can you begin to encourage the lower borders of the rib cage, the sides, and the backs of the rib cage to move freely. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. I gaze gently down toward the nose. Attention in the nostrils and the rib cage. As you begin to interface with conscious breathing. Finally, stepping through that final doorway into our Ujjayi breath. Begin to very gently hug your windpipe toward the back of the throat. Slightly constricting the airway. Creating a subtle resistance that slows the breath down. Allowing your breathing to take on a gentle oceanic sound. And a smooth, velvety texture. Stay with this. Aim to create a sound and a sensation in your breath that is very smooth, very velvety, and very well distributed across the length of each inhale and each exhale. Allow yourself to become aware of how that valve-like mechanism in the throat allows you to control the speed of the breath. Try not to rush the first part of the inhale or the first part of the exhale. Instead, use the resistance in the airway to slowly sip and savor the breath. Give this your full attention. Just this breath, just this moment. Allow yourself to begin to notice the different quality of the inhale and the exhale. The upward pranic current, the swelling, uplifting, ascending quality of the inhale. And in the exhalation, the current of Apana, the downward, grounding, soothing drop down of the exhalation. Stay with this. Bathing in the opposing currents of the inhale and the exhale. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. Eye gaze down toward the nose. The smooth sound and sensation of the ujjayi breath. And the internal attention on the upward current and the downward current. When you are ready, please begin to take note of how long your inhalations are this morning. Just counting a few consecutive cycles of the breath. And then once you have ascertained where the inhale has landed, please bring your exhalation up to meet it. Keep your mind anchored in the count. And continue to be attentive to the internal sensation of the inhale, the pranic current, and the exhale, the flow of apana. No tension or strain. Stay with this. If your mind wanders, gently and lovingly invite yourself back. At the end of your next exhalation, letting go of the pattern, letting go of the ujjayi, allow your breath to return to its natural quiet state. And take a moment to sit and steep and savor the space that you have created. Taking this opportunity, if you need, to gently readjust your seat. In a moment, we will come back into our Sama Vritti 1 rhythm, but we will be introducing the melody of the Nadi Shodhana. And so in this way, you can conceive of the pranayama practice very much like making music. The rhythm, the cadence of the inhale and the exhale, and the melody or pattern of shifting attention from side to side. You are so welcome to use your dominant hand to seal off the nostrils, but make sure you're not punishing the nose. It's a very gentle push along the inseam of the nasal fold to gently push in and up. There are important mama points, nadi junctions on either side of the nose, and they need to be treated really gently and sincerely. You can rest the elbow of your working hand in the opposite hand to form a shelf to stave off any tension in the neck or shoulders. Or if it's your preference, you can just work with your attention shifting from side to side. This is, in fact, my teacher's preferred method. Remember, if one of your nostrils feels a little bit blocked, take your prop, your tennis ball or rolled up pair of socks and pop it underneath the opposite armpit. Let's come back to settle once more. Feeling your foundation stable as you once more bring your tongue to rest against the roof of the mouth. Let the eye gaze gently drop down to the nose and start with an exhale. Then pick up your next inhale with attention. Connect with the rise and fall of the breath. Feel the rib cage moving three-dimensionally. And then come back into your ujjayi, the gentle hug of the windpipe. Then re-establish yourself in your samavritti count. The equal inhale and exhale. This is one of the coherent breathing practices, encouraging homeostasis in the physiology. This is the Goldilocks zone of the breath. If you are going to work with your dominant hand, getting it into position now, stay with the breath count, the even inhale, the even exhale. At the end of your next exhalation, gently seal off your right nostril. Bring attention to the left and take your next inhale. At the top of the inhale, block the left nostril, open the right, and exhale. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. 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 Inhale right. Exhale left. Please continue on your own. Maintain the rhythm and the melody with full attention. At the end of your next exhalation through the left nostril, let all of that go. Once more, allowing your breath to return to its natural, quiet state. And simply watch. Witness how you have arrived here in this moment. Please take your time now to carefully make your way onto your belly for Makrasana, crocodile pose. If lying on your belly is inappropriate for you in whatever way, then please lie on your back. Otherwise, taking up a prone position with your forehead resting on top of your stacked hands. Ensure that your Hands are positioned in a way that supports the neck, the shoulders. And bring your big toes together, just letting your heels fall away from one another. Perhaps giving the hips a gentle wiggle from side to side to ensure that the pelvis and lumbar spine are feeling okay. And now come back into the breath. Consciously and deliberately expanding the belly against the resistance of the floor beneath you. As the belly presses against the earth, the side and the back of the rib cage lift and move. No tension or strain. There may be some subtle sensation around the tenderness attachments of the diaphragm to the rib cage. You might like to come back into your ujjayi breath here, or perhaps just stay with a normal breath. But focus on the inhale, the expansion of the belly, the creation of your internal space. And allow your exhalation to be a gentle offering. Allow gravity to carefully extract the exhalation. Once more, allowing yourself to connect with those subtle internal currents of prana and apana, the inward, upward, expansive current, the downward, grounding, surrendering current. No counting, just curiosity. When you are ready, rolling onto your back, arriving in your shavasana. This is the time that we digest and assimilate the practice. Position yourself in whatever way is comfortable for you. Turn the palms of the hands to face the ceiling and allow your toes to just fall away from the heels. This morning, in our shavasana, we will be working with a gentle spinal wash, something to give our attention an anchor so that the physical body can soften. As you inhale, Trace attention from the tailbone all the way up to the top of the spine near the root of the tongue. And as you exhale, wash that awareness back down the spine from the tongue to the tailbone. Do not overthink this. Trust in the relationship between prana and attention. Taking your awareness up and down the spine. Trusting that prana is right behind that awareness. And wait for the sound of my voice to summon you back. At the end of your next exhale, allow your attention to diffuse more evenly through the body, bringing it into the fingers and toes. Carefully rotating the wrists and ankles. Swallowing to lubricate the throat. Perhaps taking a lovely stretch, maybe catching a satisfying ride on a wave of pandiculation as the yawn and the stretch meet one another. You might enjoy hugging your knees into your chest before carefully rolling onto your left-hand side if you have low blood pressure, or your right-hand side, taking your time to arrive in an upright seat. But just for the next few moments, keeping your attention directed inwards. As we punctuate the end of our practice with an acknowledgement of how we have arrived here. A personal promise to take this steady energy out with us into our life today. To keep coming back to the breath whenever we need to. Please float your palms to meet one another in front of the heart, or if you prefer, just rest one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. So we offer our thanks for the gift of this day, our lives and our health. And as we extend our respects and acknowledgements to one another, this shared experience, and to the custodians of this living tradition. As always, my dear friends, my very sincere respect, unbridled affection, and massive quantities of gratitude to you for your company and energy. Have a beautiful day. If you've got any questions, please drop me an email. Don't try and call me because I've lost my phone, but drop me an email for sure. Lots of love. Have a good one. Mwah, 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 mwah. Okay, bye.